Hello, I'm Moa aka Scandinavian abroad, and today we're starting a bit of a new project. I am gonna make a pillbox hat, I think. I have just recently started sewing, so this is the beginning of my sewing journey. As you can see, this is my most recent project that I'm working on at the moment, but I am waiting for more white thread. So yes, we're kind of mid it. I think that video is more likely to come up first, so if you haven't seen it, feel free to give it a watch. But yes, starting on the hat today. I am doing it after a method, I can't speak, how do you say that? A method that I've seen on Clayton's YouTube video. So trying to do it fairly similar to hers, but I am going to also try, because sewing is not difficult, without making it even more difficult for yourself when you're a beginner. Can you tell I like a challenge? So I am going to also embroider the top of it. I'm making a white hat. Very inconvenient, some would say, especially when you live in Scotland, when it's a bit muddy and rainy and lovely everywhere. But I'm thinking I want to make it a little bit Scandinavian-esque. Maybe I can use it when I go to Scandinavian winter. We'll see. But I'm thinking white. I have the fabric here for it. I'm going to show you all the things I'm going to use for it, and finally my wire arrived. I've been waiting for this for over a week. But yes, let's get started and I'll take you along on the little journey. And as always, wish me luck. And if you are looking to get inspired to start sewing or knitting or whatever your heart desires, I would say the only thing you need is a project that inspires you. The rest you can figure out. I mean, YouTube and Google is your best friend when it comes to learning new things. So yeah, follow along. And of course, before I forget, if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see what other fun creative projects I have coming up soon. But yes, let's have a look at materials. Okay, so what I'm going to use is, so first of all, I've made a few little mock-ups in paper just to see what size would work. I have some needles to pin it down. I have sewing thread, quite a sturdy one that won't break because I want this to last. I also have sewing needles, of course, a tool for the wire that we're going to use so I can cut it and shape it. And then of course we have interfacing that is quite stiff, so we can make the outline of the hat with the wire. Then we have padding, of course, so it'll be nice. This is so soft, so nice. Also have a scissors, because I always have scissors. We also have, start with this is my lining fabric, which I had spare from from my apron dress, which is what you saw earlier in the video. And my outer layer. Not sure if this is going to be thick enough, but it's definitely thin enough to use these, which is, oh, I don't know if you can see that, that's terrible. Let's see if we can do this. These are the 4 colours I'm using for my embroidery, or at least that's the plan. And then we have embroidery needles, of course, as well. So yes. Let's get started. So to start with, I am gonna make basically not a mock-up, but I'm gonna make a hat out of this. I'm gonna make a big circle, and then I'm gonna fold this in half to make it, or in 3 maybe, to make it go around. I pray I have enough of this because I'm not sure. And yeah, I mean, this is my first time making a hat, so if we have some issues, then we'll have some issues. But hopefully it'll go well. So let's go. I have also written up all the instructions here from the video, so I know what I'm doing, which makes every step a little bit easier if I know what's coming next, in case I need to prepare for it. cut out my pieces, but the first thing I need to do is sew these two together so that I have one long strip, because I didn't order enough for cutting on one long one. Maybe that will be awful, maybe it'll work anyways. But yes, that's what we're doing first. And I'm using this kind of thicker thread and just a needle to kind of just basic stitches, get them to put together, stick together, and then we're gonna put the wire in. And the best part about this is that it's a very forgiving process, because you won't see this. This will be covered with fabric, so it doesn't need to be pretty. It just needs to hold together. So now I'm basically just attaching the wire to this inner facing, and then I'm gonna pin it in place with hairpins, because I don't have anything else that can hold it in place. So just do with whatever you have at home. So what I'm doing is pinning it down. I am doing it all the way around, and then I'm hand sewing it into place, making sure to overlap this so there's no weak points in this. And this wire will help you kind of shape the hat to fit your head. This is, I mean, I can't even remember what it's called, but I put all the details in the description here below, or in the blog post that I've linked to this. So if you're curious about exactly what I've been using, how much fabric, how much interfacing, check that out in the description. Okay, so I have stitched down the wire on both of my parts. Now I'm going to line it with fabric and basically just pin it to it so that we can start putting it together. Starting to get dark outside, I've been sewing and I put this together. So I've sewn on the lining fabric, and then I have sewn together the edge with 2 little stitches on each. Just keep it together, and I've pinned in the top, so you can see all these needles. I also accidentally got tiny little dots of blood on it, because I pricked my finger quite badly on one of the needles and I didn't see that it was bleeding, but you can barely tell, so it probably will only be me wearing it as well. And I think I'm quite happy with how it is looking. Ooh, it's starting to look a bit more like a hat, and I mean, what do we think? Will it look good? I hope so. I was worried this would be a little bit too wide, but I do feel the top of my head touching on the top of it inside, so I think it's a good size. But the last thing I'm going to do today is stitch down the edges with wide stitches to keep it all together. And then I guess tomorrow, yeah, probably tomorrow, I will use the padding, the outer fabric, and I'll try and get the embroidery done. I was thinking I'll do the embroidery on the top, and then also something on the front, just something simple and minimal that will just hopefully look quite nice. So fingers crossed. Just realized I pinned this the wrong way, so before I stitch it, because you don't want this in the inside of it, I am gonna turn it over and then I'm gonna stitch it down. But I'll see you guys, well, probably in a few seconds, but tomorrow. And I guess good morning, because this is the next day and I am putting the padding on. I will remove this without hurting myself, just to show you the kind of way of doing it that I've been doing before we prepare the embroidery and the fabric to go on top. So yesterday we kind of made it look like a hat, and today that one, basically taken a big kind of, what's it called, strip around the hat of the padding, and then little circles that you just kind of drape on top. You put one on top because you want this to be the highest part of it. And then I have a big circle, which I'm putting all over. And then I'm gonna now repin it down. I might trim it a little bit so it doesn't hang down over the edge. And then I guess I will measure out and cut out the fabric that I want to be covering my hat. And then it's time to try and embroider. I've never done it before, and I have this wonderful pattern that I really want to try that I like. It has this kind of Scandinavian folklore kind of vibe to it, which I absolutely love. And it's by, what's she called again? Minimalist Vintage, I think. I'll definitely link to it and show you what I mean. But it's yeah, I think it'll look lovely on top of this. And then I want something like at the front of the hat. Haven't really figured out what that is yet, but I will. So let's pin this down and then let's get to it. Here I have my fabric pieces, and I've pinned the ends together so that I can sew across with the seam allowance, iron the edges open, and then kind of fold it over again to create a band to go around the hat. So I'm going to do that with my sewing machine, and then I have also put this so I can start embroidering. Lots of fun things to do. So yeah, here we go. Also helps that this is connected. There we go. So we're just going to iron that open and fold it in half, and then I am going to decide what embroidery I want to do. But I'll start with that one because I do know what I want to do there. Here we go again. I have filmed this already because I thought my hat was done, but it wasn't because it was too bulky. I have removed quite a lot of padding from it to make it look a little bit neater, and I think that made it all for the better. Still have the embroidery on top, and yeah, I mean, I think my padding was just too big probably. This is what I've removed. Quite a lot of it. So the only thing that I actually have done is that big circle that I've just covered, and then I have stitched down the top and the edges. It's a little bit uneven here in the back because it was a little bit too big. Yeah, I quite like it. It's I mean, if you're doing embroidery, you probably should have something a bit thicker or sturdier of the fabric. I don't really mind it because I like it anyways, but I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it's just trying it until you find something that works for you. And I think this works. It's a cute little white hat. I am already starting to plan my next project. I think it's going to be a dress again. Fun. And maybe then we'll do an apron. I am thinking of maybe doing the 9 projects challenge for 2021. So I will list things that I want to make and see if I can make them this year. I have things like I want to make that kind of Lyrica Matoshi strawberry dress version, my own kind of thing. I want to do maybe like a midnight starry sky thing. Maybe I want to do a vintage Halloween thing when that comes around. So yeah, I might do a video just listing everything on my challenge list. But yes, feel free to subscribe and maybe like this video if you've liked coming along, and I'll see you in the next video.